This is Joan, and you're looking at a picture of Derrick Jaxn. Now, if you don't know who he is a relationship expert, or at least he says he is. I guess anybody could be if they just, presented themselves and said, hey, I'm a relationship expert. And I don't really have a problem with that because some people can do some things naturally that other people have to be trained to do. So if a person has a natural talent for something, I don't have a problem with it. But the problem that people are having with him is that he was considered to be, by black men, to be what they call a simp. Now, to me, a simp is basically a man who loves his woman enough to actually try to please her. But they considered him to be the king of the simps, the simplest simp, or whatever, something like that. And now it's come out that even though he's done all these things promoting black women, well, I say black women because he's black, and I think that his audience is probably largely black women. He did these things that promoted black women's self-esteem, or seemed to, and people, looked at him like as an object of lust, and he played into that. Like, look at his gold chain. I really like the gold chain, and of course I like the muscles and everything. But that was the whole point, to get your attention, to get black women to look at him. And as I've seen on Cynthia G's channel, that white women don't necessarily find black men all that attractive. The people who find black men attractive are black women. But the thing is, they found out, number one, he was married. Most people didn't know that. That he even has, I think, a child or children. I certainly didn't know that. And that he has cheated on his wife, his brown-skinned wife, with a bunch of light-skinned women. Now, yeah, I looked at Tanya, I looked at Cynthia, I probably looked at a few other people because, I do consider you all to be my distant daughters and sons and stuff, especially daughters, to be truthful. So I have a lot of respect for everybody's opinion. And I am basically not a confrontational or person who wants to fight, but everybody wants to be heard, at least some of the time. But the thing is, I feel that, well, I feel like I very much understand his wife. Now, they've shown pictures of his wife, and, on the shows I've seen, they're describing her as basic, and the women he cheated with look a lot better than her. My personal opinion is, well, the women he cheats with should look better than you. Otherwise, why is he cheating? They should do something better than you. But then you'd have to go back to the definition of better. Better in what way? Now, if you say they're better because they're light skinned, well, okay, well, then you're just buying into what society says. Then you are showing a symptom of having been brainwashed also. If you say that they are better because they dress like, whatchamacallit, hoochie mama, that's what I tend to think. They dress like Instagram models. Now, don't think I'm putting Instagram models down, because I kind of think if I had the body and I was younger, that's a way to make money. Nobody touches you. And, if you aren't really trying to get to know celebrities, you just want the money, you could go in there and say, hey, shoot, yeah, I saw where this woman was getting paid because people like to see her walk. And I'm like, shoot, you just want to put a camera back there and not bother me? You don't touch me. You don't even know me. Shoot, I don't have too much of a problem with that. Like I said, if I was a few years younger, shoot, that might not be a bad idea. So I have no real problem with Instagram models. But, I myself, left on my own, when I'm not dating, am not too big on putting a lot of makeup on. Or so I kind of understand the wife. Plus, she's religious. I came from a religious background. And my background was conflicted because my mother, we were Jehovah's Witnesses by the time I came along, and I'm the youngest. My mother got put out of the congregation because my father cheated, which makes no sense. Okay, but she stuck with it, and they came a few years later and said, you know what, we were wrong for putting you out, not speaking to you, throwing your kids out. We sorry. We're real sorry. Would you come back? By that time I was in high school and my mother went back, but I didn't because I felt like you don't get to treat me like that. So so I didn't go back, but I didn't lose the religion, and partially because I couldn't. Once people find out that you're affiliated with the witnesses, you are forever affiliated with the witnesses. If I say anything about the Kingdom Hall to anyone, they forever affiliate me with the Kingdom Hall. They'll call me up and say, "Why those witnesses do that?" I haven't been there in 20 years. I don't know. Well, why y'all do that? Y'all, I have told you I'm not affiliated with anything. So I can understand. Well, let me go back. After high school, like I said, I didn't lose the religion, the concepts. I believed in don't commit fornication, don't do this. Now explain to me how you're gonna marry anybody and not commit fornication. That's like and the Bible even addresses that. I think it's something that begins with a J, and it's 4:14 where God says, "Well, hey, I recognize that my nation won't grow because these men will not marry anybody they haven't tried out a few times." So it's something that to that effect, and I'll try to look it up and give it to you. But in any case, I was a good girl for a lot of years until finally my brother got married and everybody, my family started saying maybe I was gay. I was not gay. I wasn't doing anything with anybody because I was looking for that guy who would like marry me without sex at first. And that just simply didn't happen. So let's say I dated for a year and I realized I don't like dating. I don't like having to remember a whole lot of different things about a whole lot of different people. That to me is work. So the first guy who said, "Let's get married and you can stay home and take care of the kids and I'll go to work." That's all it took for me. Okay, I'm married. So because I got pregnant before I got married, I felt so guilty. I married this guy and I went back to the hall. And I tried my best to be everything that the hall said a woman should be. And I've come to the conclusion that's what the hall says a woman should be. You have to focus on what does the Most High say a woman should be, because the two are not necessarily the same thing. And I feel that way about every religion. Excuse me. All of them give you this ideal, this really exalted ideal of womanhood, but at the same time they give you almost none about man. Manhood is he's a man. He has a penis. That's all he really needs to do. And if he has muscles and he's tall and he has a job, shoot, he is almost given God-like status. Whereas you, as a black woman, well, first, you're wrong because you're a woman. Second, you're wrong, you're black. Third, you're wrong if you're not light-skinned. If you're not mixed with something, that's definitely wrong. And what people don't tell you or don't mention much in the Bible, and I do believe not pretty much everything that we're going through has already been recorded in the Bible somewhere. It's just a matter of finding it. Not just the Bible, but the books that were not included in the Bible, but that people were reading at the same time. Well, not somewhere in Genesis, it tells you the story of Judah and Tamar. Now, Judah, like the Hebrew Israelites will say that black Americans, Afro-Americans are descendants from Judah. Now, if you look at certain things about Judah, it kind of fits in with black people actually being his descendants, and that he married a foreign woman. Okay, he passed by, every other woman of his race, of his tribe, and went and found a woman of another race. And I think that it had to do with prestige. The people that he married into were the Canaanites, and now a lot of people will tell you that they were black, but I think that they had to have been a little bit lighter because Naama, their ascendant, yeah, they ascended from her. She was half Sethite and half Canaanite. Like I have said in the other video, she was the first biracial singer. She married Noah. And I think she also probably married Ham and possibly Nimrod. But in any case, the Canaanites were probably lighter than the rest of the Hamites. And even when it came time when God was giving people allotments of land, the Canaanites saw themselves separate. They would not move into the land. Instead, they took land that had been given to Seth, which is why God kept telling them when he freed them, you're going to go back to your own land. Because I used to wonder, why is God telling these people to take somebody else's land? Because he's not. Our God is a fair God, and he wouldn't do that. This was the land he had already given to them. But back to Judah. Judah wanted the Canaanite woman. He took the Canaanite woman, and he had 3 sons. 2 of the sons died. He wanted them to marry back into probably the tribe of his older brother Reuben. And those 2 sons, the first one died. The second one was supposed to have children and have them in his brother's name, which he refused to do, so he died. So finally we're at the 3rd son, and at this point Judah is like, I think this woman is cursed. Now he doesn't look at his sons and say, well, you know what, maybe it has something to do with my sons. Maybe it has something to do with them being mixed. Maybe God didn't appreciate that. He doesn't look at that at all, which is a sign, to me, it's a symptom of black men. They don't look at themselves. They never think, maybe I should tighten up on my backstroke. That's a very old saying, I know. But I think it's good for young people to have some ideal about what the past was like. But in any case, now, black men don't look at themselves as having any flaws. They look at themselves as being perfect. So if anything has gone wrong in any way, it has to be the woman that they're with. That is a sign of narcissism. Narcissists all believe that they are perfect. That's why they don't apologize. That's why, like I used to say about my ex-husband, he can justify anything he does. He could come in here, shoot up the joint, and he'd have a reason why he did it. And he would say it so convincingly, you all would be looking at me. That's what I would say to the brothers who would come to the house and try to counsel us. But in any case, that Judah did not want to give his last son to Tamar. Okay? She had been with the first son, the second son, and he said, you're not getting my third one because I think maybe you tainted, so no. But he didn't come right out and say no. He just said, yeah, later. Meanwhile, if you did not have a man looking after you, you would have a really, really hard life. So Tamar is like, oh shoot, I'm getting older. I need that boy. I need a husband. Pretty much like now, you kind of look down on if you can't point to some man and say this one's mine. That's why women try so hard to be married to guys who have been trained from birth to not want to marry you. But in any case, what does she do? She dresses like a harlot. Now, people overlook that all the time. What do you have to do to get black men's attention? Dress like a harlot. Like I said, I don't have too much against, this is, like James Brown said, this is a man's world. Okay, but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl. Yeah, it wouldn't be no world to continue on without us. But in any case, what they're faulting his wife on is that she doesn't dress like a whore. Now, I think she's just as pretty as any of those Instagram models. I really do. I don't think as a race we are homely, but she doesn't dress like a whore. And that, don't get mad at me about the whore. Like I said, money's money, but let me continue on to part 2.